Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is about how they are trying to enforce the black codes, the slave code still. And they're going to do things to try to take away from this video because they know I'm right. On the screen, you should see Section 4 and Section 6 of the slave codes. Before I read it, I want to point out that A, I will never be a slave, and B, I'm more manly than everyone else. Okay? Part of what they're doing is they're trying to pretend that they're the man, right? These rich Jews, these rich white people, their managerial class. The evidence points to the Freemasons being involved, the churches, large groups of white people who historically were responsible for slavery, Jim Crow, the slave codes, right? Reconstruction, all this sort of stuff. The failure of Reconstruction to give black people their rights, what have you. And you'll see by the end of this video that they are trying to enforce the slave codes unofficially still. So Section 4 of the slave codes was about trying to treat black people like slaves after they were set free. It said that no black person was allowed to move freely. They had to be under the service, right, under the servitude of some white person. So they basically said, hey, you can be quote unquote free, right? That fake freedom, right? That occult liberty, right? Instead of liberty as freedom and true freedom, it is this sort of occult freedom. There's true freedom. We judge people by the content of their character. Thus the Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King is not being treated the same as other people, including white people, as he has his own day, which puts him above basically every celebrity in American history. And so we see that people are supposed to be judged by the content of their character, and people hardly ever protest that. If we look into the statistics, you see most people support the Martin Luther King Day idea. Most people respect Martin Luther King, what have you. So in Section 4, we see that it wants black people to be under the tutelage, under the mentorship, under the philosophical guidance, under the leadership of white people. And it also is whitewashed people, because all throughout American history, there were whitewashed people helping them out. There were black people in Freemasonry helping them out. You know, when it came to the lynching or the murder of Emmett Till, there was a black person that helped them lynch and murder Emmett Till. So if we look at Section 6 of the slave codes, the black codes, we see that it says that no black person is allowed to assemble with colored people. Now, you think they wanted them to preach to white people? It was so unheard of. They just said, you know, they're not allowed to teach colored people unless they had the permission of the state. You see, even after they so-called freedom from slavery, they still did not separate church from state, because they said they weren't allowed to preach unless they preached the white man's so-called gospel, the white man's way. Instead of preaching the true universal gospel of God. I don't mean the Catholic gospel, because there was Catholics who were oppressing them as well. Both Catholics and Protestants were oppressing them, definitively proven that their churches are not divine. Now, do I have a right to say that? Yes. Should they try to smooth it over and try to play it off? No. Are they emasculating themselves to their very essence when they deny their profound failure, their failure to be loyal to God, their failure to be men, their failure to be virtuous? Yes, they're emasculating themselves. So what's going on here is the state is collaborating to prevent me from preaching to people. They're using various technologies, they're using threats, they're censoring my videos. Now some of you might say, so what? Again, I can't stress this part enough. The top martial artists all throughout history, the smartest people all throughout history know that if you choose evil, that you're an idiot. That's a fate worse than death. To live your one life is an evil person. I'd rather die than be evil. So when these people sink to the sissy level of being evil, and they say, well, what are you going to do? Well, why should I kill them? Right? Why should I kill them? They're already evil. They're rotting and they're going to hell. They live some kind of punk life. They're too afraid to be men. In virtue in their own language, right? the Latin root of French, Spanish, English. Ver in virtue means man. They failed to be men. And they're playing some kind of sissy magic card game while trying to make me their modern day slave. They're teamed up with gays who are at gay parades, Zionists making a fool of themselves every day on the news, white supremacists making a fool of themselves every single day on the spectrum. Corporatists, they look like complete idiots, and they're not man enough to not be evil when ver in virtue means man. That is punk. They try to tell me what to do. Curses on anyone trying to tell me who you to tell me what to do. I'm the top martial artist. You're someone who's not even man enough to not be evil. And you're playing a magic card Harry Potter bitch-made game. Yes, you're a bitch. And yes, I have triumphed over you people. And first you're going to see it in the flesh while you're acting like a sniveling evil bitch afraid to be a man. And then when your flesh dies, you're forever going to live with that failure because I'm the top martial artist and you're just a fucking bitch.